There is a reason we are all born to different status and affluence. Might it be that no matter where we are and what we are given, we're expected to become more? What's up, my EFF? Let me tell you how it is. You're listening to Jots, a podcast that explores the nature of love, compassion, joy, and the real-life connection between human beings. I'm Ender Bowen, Nashville, Tennessee rock pop artist, author, husband, father, complete dork, and aspiring compassionist. Sit back, relax, and be prepared to laugh, cry, maybe even shake your fist at the moon for some reason. Every once in a while, I talk about how in a world full of suffering, death, and heartache, I could believe in a loving and caring God. How could God let a tragedy like this happen? How could you believe in a God so cruel? These are just two of the questions I might ask. And no matter how many times I ask them, they're really not incredibly easy questions to answer. Then again, I don't believe they should be. Life's strange quandaries should never be easy to solve. After all, if nothing worth doing is ever easy, then it would stand to reason that the resolutions to inquiries such as these hold great value indeed. One such question is another that I hear on a relatively frequent basis. If there is a God, how are there people born to suffering and others born to great wealth? Isn't that proof that there's no God? This might sound crazy. I not only think this proves there is a God, but might potentially explain, at least in part, our purpose for being here at all. It doesn't seem fair, does it, that some people are born with money, power, and talents, while others are born poor, powerless, and dependent. Surely you must have at least once caught yourself asking, how come he gets to have all the money? Or perhaps observing, well, sure, but she didn't earn that money, she was born to it. Come on, man, why does he get to have the entire collection of Game of Thrones on Blu-ray? Hey, it's okay. I'm guilty of that too. Regardless of what you do or don't have, whatever that may be, have you ever wondered why you have more than someone else? Sometimes a whole lot more? I've done that as well. So why do some of us have more than others, right from the very get-go? How come some of us are born to wealth while others are born to nothing? How in the world could a loving God allow such a thing to happen? I'm very much a believer that if there's a God, there's a purpose to everything. Now, you might argue that the reason we have people born to different status and affluence is because we, human beings, made that choice. And I'm not arguing that, but then again, I see free will as part of the point. But if we have free will, and we get to make a choice about what to do about our lives, then why aren't we given a choice about the status and affluence to which we are born? If we didn't make that choice, who did? Did anyone at all? You may say that wealth and power are completely man-made things, but who and what you were born to isn't man-made. If it isn't man-made, then God chose it. But based on what? Could it be because God knows you, knows what you're capable of, and knows what you could do with what you've been given, be it much or little? Could it be that he knows where to put you and when based on this? If so, why? I think the first answer is easy. We are constantly tested against our pride, envy, greed, and charity. We can only be properly tested against these things if some people have more than others. If we all had everything under the sun equally, there would be no way to test this. The second answer is a little more complicated, but can be explained in one sentence. Much is expected from he to whom much is given. In other words, those who are born into wealth, power, and status are expected to do something with it, not just sit on it or abuse it. And those who aren't given much are still expected to do something with that very little. Perhaps the much you have been given isn't as obvious. Perhaps you're focusing on the wrong thing. Perhaps we are all expected to become more. That makes a lot of sense too, doesn't it? I mean, after all, Jesus came in part to show us the more that each one of us could be. He told us about this in the parable of the talents, as a matter of fact. You could even argue that the feeding of the multitude is an expression of this idea. It's all right there. What we have, what we don't have, what we are born into, none of that matters. Just as much is expected of you if you only have a pen, where someone else may have a fully loaded computer and printing press, or the entire collection of Game of Thrones. What matters is that you turn what you've got into something more. That's the challenge, and I dare say that's the whole point. We're here to be more than ourselves, to become more than what we were given, to essentially lift ourselves up, and in doing so, lift others up with us. All right, now it's your turn. By acknowledging what status and affluence you were born into, identifying the resources you have at your disposal, and understanding the gifts God has given you, is it easier to gain insight into what God's purpose for you might be? What might be the more that God is expecting from you? What advantages and disadvantages can be found in the status and affluence you were born into? And what do you think about this concept as a whole? I invite you to share your thoughts with me via email, ender@enderbowen.com, or you can go to enderbowen.com/Discord to learn how you can share your thoughts with the growing Ender Bowen community. I would love for you to share your thoughts about this episode with my growing community of aspiring compassionists. Find out how to join us on Discord by going to enderbowen.com/Discord. Look how easy I made that. If you like this episode, please subscribe to the God Jots podcast on your favorite podcast streaming service. You can also check out more God Jots, as well as subscribe to the mail list for ebooks, updates, and exclusive content at godjots.com. Until next time, be honest with yourself, be truthful with others, give people the opportunity to surprise you, and remember that it's impossible to have absolutely nothing in common with another human being. Be a little light in the world. I'm sure I'll see you soon.